Hey, what's going on, people? So, last video for the night for me. I'm about to start studying a little bit. So, like I said, it's gonna be Pride Month in a couple days. I don't really observe that month, just like how I don't observe a lot of things, because I feel like, just like feminism applies to white women, I feel that this month is not meant for black people, or really people of color that are identified as gay, lesbian, trans, non-binary, non-labeling, non-conforming, whatever. It does not apply to us. And sporadically, I wanted to maybe do some videos on some people that are, gay or trans or whatever, that don't, that are pretty much unsung. Their story has never really been put out there. They're not known by the mainstream. And this video may not apply to everybody, but the message I want to put out in this video is the importance of a strong black family. So I want to talk about a 22-year-old named Ali Forney. Ali was brought up in Brooklyn, New York. Well, they were born, and they're gender non-conforming, and also he is preferred as well. A little bit like RuPaul. How RuPaul is like, call me he, she, just call me. So I'm gonna just say they in this video. So Ali was brought up in Brooklyn, but they were born in North Carolina in a Muslim household. And Ali was very, very effeminate as a child. And that stuck out to his single mother. His single mother did not, approve of, them being so effeminate, and and they're in a Muslim household. So he was kicked out of the home at 13. At 13 years old. I'm only going based off of what I know and some videos I watched, Wikipedia. I've known of this story for over 10 years. And it was really sad to really listen to the documentary and read the story. But I don't know much about the father. But she was kicked out of the home, put into a bunch of foster care, placements, where they beat her, put hands on her, and they found the streets to be more preferred. They preferred the streets. So 13 years old on the streets. And what's so sickening about this story is at 13, she engaged in sex work with a bunch of nasty ass pedophiles. That's right. There's a lot of pedophilia that goes on in the gay community. She engaged in sex work, and Wikipedia may have edited this part out, this quote, but she quoted that when she made that $40, she felt like Donald Trump. They edited that part out for some reason. Maybe when he ran for president, but I remember over 10 years ago, before he was even president, it said specifically, when she made that $40, I felt like Donald Trump. Now, to ease the degradation of sex work, she smoked crack. And, this is what she did. She sold herself on the streets. It's what we call survival sex, because when you are a young gay kid on the streets, kicked out of the home. And it's a lot of stories. It was a center that I was going to, not really long, but it was a center in Philly I was going to when I was like 16. It was a story I couldn't even really finish, like really reading it, because it was so heartbreaking. His parents kicked him out the home, and he slept on the train. He was in some shelters where he was sexually assaulted at, and that was just too much for me to really listen to, because like we gotta talk about the sexual assaults, the sexual abuse that goes on with younger men. Now, I know if you listening to my channel, you probably ask yourself, damn, why do you talk about sexual assault? Why do you talk about sexual molestation? Why do you talk about rape so much? Were you raped yourself? Were you sexually assaulted yourself? No. But I see it going on so much. I got to talk about it. And it needs to be talked about. There's a lot of raping. There's a lot of predators in the gay community. But, you know, and another thing too, like I said, around that age, I felt the rejection from family, being ostracized for, what I am. And it's really hard. I'll tell you like this. Your teen years are going to be the worst. Well, not really much as of now, because it's a little more accepted now. But I'm going to tell you this, coming up, your teen years are the most confusing, most pain in the ass times ever. But back to Ali. From about 13 to about 22, they sold themselves on the street. But they did a lot of peer counseling. They advocated for protected, safe sex. But they also still had an addiction to drugs, crack cocaine. Now, around 1997, when you do drugs, you sell yourself, you're in that lifestyle, they don't play around when you don't have their money. So my belief is Ali owed somebody some money for drugs, and they don't like it when you don't have their money. I believe that Ali was killed by an associate of whoever was supplying them drugs due to the drug debt. And to this day, the murder is still unsolved. But I believe if you talk to the streets, everyone can tell you, if people talk about it enough, we can find out who did it and where they're at. But the point of this story is, and let me just say this, sexual attraction is not a choice. Acting on it is, but sexual attraction is not a choice. What I'm saying is, and let me just clarify what I mean. I'm not saying if you come across this video and you think it's okay to be attracted to kids, I'm not saying that's okay. You have to understand, they cannot consent to sex. They can't consent to it. And you shouldn't be looking at kids naked to begin with. But being attracted, aroused, whatever you want to call it, is completely normal. Now, whatever it is you do, just be safe, be protected, and make sure they're around your age. But I feel like a lot of this stuff could have been prevented. Their life could have turned around a lot differently if there were a family unit, like a father and a mother, a strong structure in the home. I'm not saying that having a father guarantees that your kid won't be gay. Because let me just tell you this, there's a lot of people that have fathers and they are on the down low, or they are gay but they are just their father and they're gay. They just don't display feminine characteristics. But if there was a family structure, I don't think, she would have turned out like this, as in the drugs, the prostituting, living on the streets. Because times like these, families should come together and be there for one another. But she didn't have a family. And this is a perfect story of a lot of black people in the so-called gay community. They have stories like these. And if you wanted a little more information on the story, check out the documentary on YouTube.